everybody, welcome back to another video. It's me, Abby, and I'm sat near the rats. So I thought I haven't done any educational videos on rats yet. I would say this is an ultimate rat guide, but it's not really because I've only owned them for a few months and I don't think I'm experienced enough to say that it's the ultimate rat guide. But these are things that you should know before you get rats, which is something I should have probably started with that because the intro is now getting longer and longer and you're all probably leaving. We're going to start with the cage. The minimum is 90 centimeters by 60 by 12, which is good for 2 to 5 rats. And if you didn't know, rats can never ever live alone unless there is a medical reason for it. But they can get extremely depressed and die if they live alone. So you've got to make sure that you have 2 or more, preferably a group, which is why I have my lovely 3. You can only see him kind of down there. The best cage you could get, in my opinion, would be the Critter Nation or the Ferret Nation, or is it called a Little Zoo something? I'll have a picture of it here. Although some people have said that this cage, the bars on it are very flimsy and can break. I only ever hear people talk about the Critter Nation or the Ferret Nation. One thing you have to look out for the Ferret Nation is that the bar spacing is going to be bigger on some of them, because ferrets are a lot bigger. So you have to look out for that because they can slip through it really easily. They're little escape artists. The cage I have is this one. Oh, is that upside down? Yes, it is. This one, the Savic Freddy Max, 80 by 80 by 50 centimeters and can house 3 rats. Inside the cage, you should have loads of different climbing things, ropes, hammocks as fall breakers, because they enjoy climbing but their bones are very fragile, and if they fall they will break a bone, and that's very expensive. So as you can see, if I move to the side, I've got IKEA tie holders, bridges, oh I forgot the camera's reversed, hammocks, beds, ropes, down, there. This is really weird, everything's reversed. I have done a video on what sort of things you can get at IKEA for rats, and I've done loads of videos on leading up to getting rats where I've gotten all of this. You can use bird or dog rope. I've been using bird rope for them to climb on, and you need lots of foraging toys. I have a dig box. I sprinkle their food in it. I have a foraging wheel. You want to make sure you have an active layout, like what I have. A lot of cages will come with shelves and bridges. I would take all of them out and just make it one big active layout, and then maybe when your rats are getting older, possibly having mobility issues, then you can put them all back in so that it's easier for them to get around. Rats have super sensitive respiratory systems, so bedding should always be kiln dried. I use hemp, aspen, however you say it. Sometimes people use fleece, but I'd skip it. One, it get dirty really quick. I mean, I know they're litter trained, but they're rats as well. You know, mine are litter trained and they still go to the toilet everywhere sometimes. It's not enriching for them. They can't dig. Even if you have a dig box, they still dig in the shallow bedding sometimes. It's just a fact of having different textures as well. Bedding should never be dusty or scented. Please don't get scented bedding. It may smell nice too, but it's probably burning their noses. You can get perspex to make the tray deeper, because a lot of trays of cages aren't actually suitable. My one's alright. I'm not going to move to the side again, but you can see the picture, it's actually pretty deep, but I just added a dig box anyway. You could fill the dig box with cocoa fibre, which I did a few weeks ago. You could also do paper shavings, shredded paper. I've done that this week. So the toys they need lots of toys. They're really smart, so they need to be entertained all the time, because if they're bored they get puppies and then they're destructive. So this can vary from chew toys, because their teeth, they never ever stop growing. You always need something for them to chew on. If you notice they're bruxing a lot, which is when they grind their teeth together and make that noise with their mouth, that probably means there's something wrong with their teeth. And I don't mean every now and then, because it could just be they're happy or they're just grinding their teeth down just in general. But if it's all the time, then I'd go to see a vet and check out their teeth. So like I said again before, you need lots of different foraging toys. I'm meaning to change the foraging wheel so that they have something else to do, because they've learned how to use it and it's just like an everyday thing for them now, so I need a new puzzle for them. Now, wheels are a little bit of a controversial topic. You always want to make sure it's the right size. I'll have the sizes on the screen now. Males are said to not always use a wheel. They can be quite lazy. I've never owned males, but that all depends on the rat. Girls will use a wheel because they're very like hyperactive, but I also read that you don't have to have a wheel, and my cage is too small for a wheel, unfortunately. And I was looking about it on Reddit, and many people have told me that they would prefer to have the space and no wheel over having barely any space left because there's a wheel. So if you don't have one, just make sure they get time out of the cage and free roam time, which I do every night. In the cage, which I should have said earlier, but on the wheel and in the cage, nothing should be this material, like this wire material. Nothing that they're walking on should be that material. They have a choice to climb up the cage. They'll do it if they want to, they won't do it, which is fine. But on the wheel, something that they might really, really enjoy and always be on it, they are going to give themselves bumblefoot if it's a wire cage, because they have no padding on their feet, same as walking on wire. That was going to give them bumblefoot. Rat food's also a bit of a controversial topic. Some people say lab blocks are better, which is what I've got, or that mixes are better. Mixes provide enrichment because it's lots of different things, but you should never feed a rat's food in a bowl because it's boring to them. And rats are very picky animals, so especially when you have a food mix, you want to scatter it around, put it in foraging toys, because they're just going to pick out the bits they like, and then their nutrients is going to be imbalanced. They'll be overweight, underweight. But lab blocks, they can't see different things, they can't pick out different things that they prefer. It's all just one. And I'll put a picture of the food that I use because it's currently away. I can't bother to go and get it out. But I do scatter feed this, put it in foraging toys. Or treats like plain Cheerios can be fed occasionally. Malt paste is a really good treat because it forces them to eat next to your hand, and it's really good for trick training. I also feed mine mealworms, which is in that pink tub there on top of the pink carrier. Yes, did you see me pick up the malt paste? You want some? Rats can eat dark chocolate, very tiny bits, and it does not cure a respiratory infection. Loads of people say that online. It only kind of soothes it. It will not cure it. Please don't use it as medicine. It should be a very rare treat. Now, before you get your rats, the question is always, is this animal right for me? Is this animal right for me? But are you right for the animal? Is your air clean for their respiratory systems? You can't vape or smoke, spray perfume. No strong, harsh chemicals, no air freshener, things like that around them or their cage. Do you have the funds to keep updating their cage? Because the layout always needs changing and things are always being chewed on, ripped. Do you have the funds to keep replacing that? Do you have the funds to take them to the vets? Because they will get a respiratory infection at least once in their life. Nelly has already had one, unfortunately, and I did do a short about that if you want to know how to give a rat medication, and I could do a longer video on it if that's something you really wanted more information about. Can you handle the really short lifespan? They are only here for 1.5 years, and if you're lucky, 3 years. Do you have the space for everything they need? A critter nation is obviously massive. It's taller than me. This is a big cage anyway. It takes up one massive corner of my room. But do you have the space for a free roam area? Do you have half an hour to an hour a day to sit with them and play with them and bond with them? Because, like I said, rats need time out of the cage because their energy builds up, especially female rats. And can you pet proof from your other animals? I luckily can. They're in my bedroom, away from my cats and dogs and my guinea pigs. Do you have a room where they can be separate from everyone else? But yeah, that's all for today's video. I think you all deserve some compensation for listening to this. Here we go. Hi! Mabel, who wants more paste? See, more paste is really good. It's also full of vitamins. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and now I have to reward them with some treats for waiting so long for free roam time.